Hi, everybody. Hello, Ellie. It's good to see
Hello,
you.
hello. I'm so excited to be here.
So excited for today. Thank you for being able to hang out with us for a little bit and talk to us about your new book. So I thought we'd start there. I mean, you have a couple new ones coming out in the next couple of months, but you have a new one that just came out last week, March 29th.
Yes, it's true. It still doesn't feel real. And the thanks is all mine. I'm so excited to be back with you. I got my coffee.
Yes, me too.
What are you drinking? Just plain?
Oh,
Anything?
gosh, no.
Yeah.
No. In my too hip to hop cup.
I love
I
that.
love it. No, it's coffee. It's got some coffee creamer in it. I think it's just I don't know, French vanilla or something like that. So
I was going to get fancy and make like an Andy latte at home, and then I didn't have time. So that's how it goes.
yeah. So your Left Coast Literary book. Talk a little bit. How did that come about? I've heard a little bit about it on your Tuesday night lives, but how did we get from cozy mystery to that?
Right, totally. I'll show you. I have a copy of it. Just like it's so beautiful.
It is. I love the cover. Your artist is amazing.
No, we can talk about that too. So when I started working on this book, I had written my 25th mystery. And I think you kind of, I know, that's so surreal too. I think you do get to a point in your writing career that I didn't anticipate getting to quite that quickly, because just the way that publishing schedules worked, I was having a lot of books come out every year. But my energy was really being pulled toward wanting to do something else. And it's funny because in the early part of January 2020, before the pandemic really became what it I had like a New Year's plan where I was like, I'm going to open myself up to new story ideas. I'm not usually at a loss for story ideas like with murder. But I know that doesn't sound right, does it? Sorry. Finding ways to kill people is no problem. Bring it on.
We do that all day.
But anyway, I just wanted to like stay really open to other story ideas. And in fact, I had kind of started another book that's not a mystery. But I started it and I put it aside, and I think it is a lot about just like following where that energy is pulling you. For me anyway, when it comes to writing, when I don't and I try to force something, then it just doesn't work. Okay, anyway, so long story short, then the pandemic really hits in March. And in late May, I woke up from a dream and literally, no joke, the entire, like, not obviously full plot, but like the overall sketch for this story. I woke up and I ran to get my journal because I was like, this has never happened in all of my years writing, even prior to writing fiction. Like when I was just I've never had a dream about a book. And so I was like, I feel like, all right, like a message received.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it just sort of spiraled from there. I don't know.
Wow. That's so interesting. Are you the type of writer that has like little notes all over the place because as soon as you see something, you're like, oh, I can put that in a book 10 years from now. And you're like,
yes. And then, like if I pull out my desk and just like it's notes upon notes, notes upon notes. And then I can't find the note, where I'm like, I know I had an idea about something. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I'd be scared to like, cause I feel like you're the type of person that like we're at a coffee shop and I'm doing something and you're like, look at that lady over there.
Yeah, just always. Yeah, like, totally. I know. I don't think I'm a fun person to go out with at all because I'm like, I know, I really want to hear what you're saying, but can you just give me 1 minute? Yeah.
Melmac, people saying hello. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Tony. Hi, everyone. Hi, Melmac. It's good to see you. She's always at your Tuesday lives too.
I know. Hi, Holly.
Hi, Holly. It's good to see you. Hi, book fan. Ooh, I like your roses.
Ooh, I do too.
Hey, Cajun.
Hey.
Everyone. Hello, Amberjen. Reading her bake series.
Yay. So there's the murder.
That is awesome.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly. Jillian, it's good to see you. Hey, Taylin.
Taylin.
It's good to see you. Hi, Gamer. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put in some. B said, hey, sneaking in between patients
Hey,
and work.
Beth.
Hello.
Yeah.
I feel you. I totally feel that. So you also have a new Sloane Krause coming out May 5th. No,
Yes.
is it May 5th?
Third, something that
May
first
3rd,
week.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's the third. Yeah.
I keep saying 5th because it's the 5th book. And so in my head, I keep
Right.
wanting to think it's the 5th.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited that you're continuing that series. I was so thrilled when I saw that. And then you have a new series starting up with your husband and son. Is that right?
That's also true. Yes.
When is that coming out? And what can you tell us about that without,
Yeah. So the Sloane Krause is going to be book 5.5. So it's a novella. It's going to be about 100 pages. I'm not quite done with it. I'm working on edits right now. So this is going to pick up where book 5, where book 5 left off, and be like, an interim between book 5 and 6. So I'm very excited about that one. It's going to be spring in Leavenworth, and they're going to go to an outdoor farm, beer and
I love that.
dinner pairing, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. It's not so bad because I've had to do a little research for that. Like, we should see how this food pairs, and then the new series.
Sacrifices we make for research.
Totally. It's pretty much a dream. The new series that I have been working on with my husband and my son, that's going to come out, I think, early fall. I'm still finalizing a title. I think the first title is going to be Murder Strikes Back, because it's got some nods to Star Wars and all things pop culture geekish. And it is set in a little small historic town called Beckman Falls, which is loosely based on Jacksonville, but is actually here in Southern Oregon. So it's going to have all the cozy vibes, but it's going to feature a young duo who solved the crime, which is fun.
I love that.
Yeah. I can't wait.
That is so cool. I think that the Star Wars thing is so cool. And I feel like it's wide open because in general, even if it's not like, if it's just nods toward that, I don't feel like that lane of cozy mysteries has really been explored, meaning just kind of sci-fi, I mean, there's a few, but not not a whole lot that I know of. So I think that that's a field that people will be really excited about, that want that kind of lane to be filled.
I think so too. It's been super fun. And I think, again, this kind of goes back to wanting to stretch myself and challenge myself at this stage of my career, which is what Lost Coast Literary for sure was, because it was completely different than writing a mystery. But in writing the Beckman Falls series, I'm co-writing it because the lead character is male. He's like in his early 20s. And I just wanted to make sure that from a gender perspective, I got that correct. So that's why I have looped in my husband and son. But I think the cozy is ready for more of this. Diane Valeri,
yes,
has like a space series that just came out.
I haven't read that, but I've read a few books by her. She has a series that's really good.
So cool. Like, I love that concept. I would love to see more like crossover like that too. So
yeah, there's Kirsten Weiss. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, because it might be Weiss. I don't know. Anyway, she has a UFO B&B series.
No way! Oh my gosh!
It's a B&B series. It's a B&B series that's UFO themed. Like her B&B is UFO themed, or from what I know.
I'm making a note of that. Okay.
He also writes the Perfectly Proper Paranormal Museum series, and that's really, really good.
Okay, I love it. A UFO B&B. How brilliant is that?
A UFO themed B&B. I was like, that's amazing.
So cool.
That's really cool. So I also really want to hear about the press, because I want to hear how it started, but really, how long between the idea of you're just sitting around and you'll be like, I should create my own publishing press.
Totally. Like
how that happens. Cause I'm so interested in, like, I would be just the follow through on that, and like the process, and especially when you don't know really, I'm assuming you weren't like a professional, an expert on how to just start a press. It probably had to be, learn as you go. And how long did it take all that to happen? How did it come about?
Yeah, the idea for me has been in the works for a while. I would
Okay.
say probably 4 or 5 years. The first series of books that I wrote under my real name, which is Kate, I have had a goal for a long time to try to get those rights back, because I have a totally different vision, and always did, of how those books should be marketed.
Is
And I
this the
think,
Pacific Northwest?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that's just like, that's all contractual, and it happens all the time. So I'm hoping that's going to happen. And that was really initially my first thought. But I think the landscape of publishing has shifted so much, just really, even since I started writing professionally, well, fiction professionally 10 years ago. And I really love the hybrid model where, I kind of have a foot in both worlds, because there's so much cool indie stuff that's being done. There are advantages, obviously, to being with a bigger house too. But really, for me, it's come down to wanting to be able to have a little more control. And I think one of the things that I talk to new writers about all the time is there's this perception that if you have a book contract with a major publishing house, that they're just like throwing money at you, and you write the book and then you just sit back and it's unicorns and rainbows, which is not true. As authors, we do the lion's share of all of it, the marketing, etc. So I think really the idea for me was like, well, I've learned a lot in this decade of doing this work. Like, I feel like I can take some of those skills and transfer them into doing it on my own. I also, like, my personality, I didn't know how to write a cozy mystery. And I was like, well, I'll just learn. I'll read everything I can. I'll go to workshops. I'll go to classes. So it's been a lot of that too. And then once the idea for Lost Coast Literary came, and I knew I was doing something that was in a different lane than the cozy, it seemed like a good time. So yeah, I don't know. It's still a learning curve. Everything takes so much longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, that's incredible. I totally think the face of publishing has changed, because I think that, unfortunately, even just a few years ago, I felt like indie publishing was for people and what other people thought. I'm not saying it, whether, that is true, but, that can't get a traditionally published editor or house or whatever you want to call it, and I think that shift has totally changed in a lot of ways. But I'm sure that there's pros and cons to both. But so at some point, do you think you'll take on other authors, and then how do you see that? Do you see that happening?
That is that's my ultimate dream. I am the kind of writer who I want more stories in the world, because I am first and foremost such a reader myself. And so I would love to be even just like a tiny part of bringing somebody else's work to the world. So that's my long-term vision and like what I'm setting out there. But I feel like I really need to have a grasp on every aspect, because I learned so much with Lost Coast, and I feel like I'm going to learn more with each book. So I kind of, in the back of my head, I'm thinking maybe that's a couple of years out, because I wouldn't want to bring like a first book of someone else's out and then just completely screw it up. That would be a horrible, like I needed to make sure I know every step and like what can go wrong. But yeah, that's the goal for sure.
That would be amazing. You could like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm just going to say it anyways. You should, like, since you're thinking about redoing the Pacific Northwest, do like other authors whose contracts have like ceased and they still want to write.
Yes.
So you can like do where you're bring like Sweet Lemon Press second, I don't know, like revitalization, because there's so many series that authors tell me, I really want to write more. And I'm like, I really want you to write more. What can we, that would be amazing.
It would be amazing. I love that idea. And there's so many great series. I do think that's one of the cons of going the traditional route is you really usually have like 2 or 3 books. And if it doesn't hit right away, they'll cancel the series. And sometimes it takes longer, like 4, 5, 6 books before readers really like discover something. So there are gems of initial starts to series
Absolutely.
out there that have been canceled for no reason. It's like your favorite TV shows, right? Oh,
Exactly. One of my favorite names, Mazda goes vroom vroom, but it's broom broom, but I still say it as vroom vroom.
yeah, you need like
Hi, good to see you.
that is a great
Lynn
name.
said, I'm glad to see two of my oh, that is so
Thank
nice. That's very
you.
sweet.
Hi,
Hi, Melissa.
Melissa.
Melmac says, Ellie, how do you come up with the names of your characters?
That is such a great question. I honestly feel like there are, it's almost like naming kids, honestly. There's a lot more work that goes into it for me than I thought would have been true when I first started writing. Like, oh, you'll just go through a list of names and be like, that feels good. But honestly, maybe not so much in the mysteries for like the toss away suspects, but for any main character or secondary character, I spend a lot of work, and I'll actually often sit with the name through a whole first draft and see if it really like sticks and resonates. And a lot of times it doesn't. But I think there's sometimes like some cliches in naming characters too, where you see like kind of a trend everywhere, which yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
There's a ton. And I didn't notice it until somebody pointed it out. And now I see it all the time. There's a ton of cozy mystery series that's main character's name are Lucy.
Lucy.
A ton.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it until, like I said, somebody pointed out to me. And then I started a new series, and lo and behold, I was like,
hey, yeah.
It's so funny. But yeah, there are definitely trends for sure.
Or like the joke in rom-coms is it's always like a female protagonist named Sam, who's like your next door neighbor, best friend. Like, yeah. And I don't think it's not intentional. Like I find that fascinating because I think sometimes stories and ideas like kind of take collective shape, in the world. But yeah, I spend a lot of time on that. It's interesting with Lost Coast Literary, Emily, who is the protagonist, that name, like I sketched that out that morning that I woke up with a dream, and that stuck the whole time. It was more than just trying to figure out like, who is she?
Do you have like, did that come from like a relative or anything like that? Or did you just in the dream, it was just like, it's Emily?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
I didn't know
if
like Emily was some significance,
Nope, not at all.
Wow.
I don't even think I know an Emily in real life or like, in my sphere.
Wow. Hi, Nadine.
Oh.
She said, hi, I'm reading my first Ellie Alexander, Meet Your Baker. I'm really enjoying it. The story is interesting and the writing is great. I look forward to reading more.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Thank you, Nadine. Thanks for giving it a try too.
Mel said, Hold On for Beer Life has an awesome cover. A tech guy did an awesome job with that cover. Yeah, it's really fun. I love the title. Hold On for Beer Life is awesome.
Yeah. Titles are the best part. I am very fortunate in that my husband is a very tech savvy kind of guy and always has been. This is what he does for his career, for his real job. So it really has been a team effort in terms of starting the press too, because he's done all of the other stuff like formatting the book so the book looks beautiful and all the digital stuff that is could I have learned it? Yes, but would that be my skill set?
Well, and he's also amazingly talented at like art stuff. He's got like this whole Etsy like amazing stuff going on. And,
I know.
I have to call a plumber if my husband decides he could be watching. Never mind. No, I'm just kidding.
He's like, what are you saying in there?
But I mean, he does like candles and all sorts of like really artistic stuff.
Yeah, he's super crafty. In fact, for April Fool's Day, I shared my cover sketch of what a drawing for me would look like. And I love that a few readers were like, oh, it's so sweet. I'm like, no, kindergartner could do better. But he really does have a talent in that area. So that's nice. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I told you I work with little kids, and I had drawn a picture of something and put it up on my bulletin board as a joke. And one of my colleagues was like, which kid drew that? I was like, I don't remember what.
Yeah, one of them, just like they all blend together. Yeah, Someone, not me, not me.
Clearly, it wouldn't be the adults.
No.
How was your most recent in-person meet and greet? Was it exciting to get back together again? Any more in-person events planned? Good question.
That is such a great question, Taylin. It was so great. I hugged everybody. So there's that. Even people I'm sure who were like, please don't hug me. No, I did ask. I'm good about boundaries, but I'm like, oh my gosh, we're here. It's happening. It was so lovely. I have more in-person events planned. In fact, I've got a book signing this coming weekend in Grants Pass, which is a little north of me in Southern Oregon. And then I'm going to be in Leavenworth at the end of the month for Independent Bookstore Saturday at a Book for All Seasons. So that should be fun. And then I am right now in the works planning some launch events for the next Bake Shop Mystery, which comes out at the end of June. So yeah, I know it feels weird. And then I'm sort of like, is this real? Like, should I keep playing? Like, I don't know, but
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. And it is weird because it's like as soon as you plan a bunch of things, then for me, I mean, and I think everybody, the last couple of years, it was like things seem to be getting on this trek where you saw the light, you'd plan something and then you'd have to cancel it. And then,
right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Leavenworth, which is obviously where Sloane Cross takes place. Although I have been saying that name wrong. I listened to the audio of The Cure for What Ails You.
Okay.
And her last name is pronounced, I was totally pronouncing it wrong the entire time. I think they pronounced it like Cruz or Crusay or something.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not right. It's Kraus.
That's what I say. Yeah. The audio, it's really different. Cause I was like, holy, I am way off.
I have not listened to the audio. So there you go.
I'll listen to it again and email you.
Okay.
Because I can't remember, but it's something like, I'm like, oh,
that's not right.
Okay,
no.
Good. Okay,
see, and that's
it wasn't me.
No, it's not you. And that's a piece of like, I don't have any say over that.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's different.
And I never listen.
Really different. But Leavenworth is obviously a real place, and you're going. So, are they going? I know you mentioned this in one part. Are they going alcohol free for a town that is like all about alcohol? Because did they not see how it went in your book? Like somebody like share that. Like
I know. Yeah, that was really surreal. That was a first for me too, where I'm like, I wonder if anytime, like if I put something on the page, it will happen in real life. Which is kind of the whole concept of Lost Coast Literary, actually. Yes. So I wrote a book about a mayor running for re-election and deciding to cancel Oktoberfest. And then like a year and a half later, that is actually happening. They're moving it to Wenatchee, which is like 30 minutes away, which is bananas because like the whole like the entire village, and no joke, like 100,000 people plus come in every other weekend in October. So I don't know. I mean, the town is not like Icicle Brewing, which is where I imagined Keller in the book to be. Like that's all of those places are still there, but they're getting rid of Oktoberfest, which is what put them on the map.
Is wild because I can't imagine not wanting that revenue.
I know.
It's wild, but I just feel like we saw what happened when they canceled Oktoberfest in your book. Do people not read? I mean, what's up? Like,
I think it's a cautionary tale. Maybe when I'm up there, it's my civic duty to bring a copy to the mayor and just be like, look, it didn't go well. You end up dead, actually. So,
drop off copies. Later on, you'll be like on some watch list, but you did your civic duty.
Totally.
Yeah, love the sound of a sci-fi fantasy cozy. Absolutely. Who is your favorite author, and do you have favorite genres to read?
Oh gosh, Melmac. I have so many favorite authors, honestly. I love Willa Cather. I love Catherine Mansfield, who is a New Zealand poet from the early 1900s. I love Mary Oliver's poetry, Ursula Le Guin. Of course, like Agatha Christie, Jane Austen. I love lots of modern fiction. Elizabeth Gilbert, Brene Brown. I read everything. I honestly read everything, and I'm definitely a mood reader. So like just last week, I picked up something that I thought I was going to be totally into, and then was like, no, I'm craving something, like rom-com-y. So I switched. So I really, short of Westerns, like I read everything, honestly. I'm reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo right now. And I'm only like a quarter of the way in it, but I'm really enjoying it.
I was going to ask, because that's a book that seems so polarized. You either hear people like saying they just didn't care for it, or it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of middle ground in that book.
I'll have to report back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved Daisy Jones and the Six, her previous book. So yeah.
So excited for the Beckman Falls series.
I'm excited too.
Ooh, will there be more Rose City books? I really like that series and wish there were more than 2.
Melmac, me too. This is that was my first publishing house. I have been pounding the pavement to try to get the rights back. So publishing, so even as writers, we own the copyright. The story is all mine. But then when you sell a series to a publishing house, they retain the rights for some period of time. And I've been working on it because that's another series that I would have gone way over 2 books, but they didn't really give it a shot. And I don't feel like those covers represented the inside of the book so much. But I would really love to revive those at some point in time too. It's hard with both of those series when you have a few books in a series that are now out of print to try to get a reader excited of like, okay, go read the first one, but you're not going to be able to read book 2, 3, 4, but then you'll get book 5 or something, So yeah. But yes, ideally, eventually, it's a goal.
Yes. That's awesome. Hey, you're not late. You're absolutely fine.
Anytime.
Thank you both for this. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Anita. It's good to see you. Anita has a really cool blog, Hearts and Whodunit.
I know, that's
which is a really funny name. Yeah, or really good name, I meant. By the way, Ellie's masterclass is fabulous.
Oh,
yeah,
thanks,
you do a writing class. Holy moly, you forgot about that. I'm sorry.
No worries.
People, I've heard a lot of good things about. Courtagonist talks about it. Courtney from Courtagonist. Yeah. Is it all online?
It's all online. And then we have a Facebook group too, where I do lives like this. And people like answer questions and we share resources. It's been, one of like the highlights of my career to watch writers support each other and learn from each other. And one of our writers just signed with an agent. So it's like having babies out in the world again, where I'm like, I'm more excited, I think, than you are. Like, yeah, I think because when I was initially writing, I just felt like I was on such an island, and I joined a few different writers groups, but none of them were writing. One person was writing a very serious thriller, but like early on, they read my cozy draft and were like, oh, this is just so campy. And then, like self-doubt crept in, like, oh no. So it's been really heartening, I guess, to see everybody make connections and be so supportive too.
Yeah. And so can they buy like sessions at a time, or is it, how long is the master course and how's all that work?
Yeah. So I have a payment plan option if somebody, because you can just like buy the course or you could set up a payment plan. I do private coaching too. Okay. But the course is really self-paced. So it takes you from like the seed of an idea and how to formulate a plot and characters and suspects, red herrings, all the way into how to write a query letter and a book proposal. And so it's the gamut, but it's all self-paced. So that's been fun too, because there are writers, obviously, like one of the writers who just signed with an agent, who then can like impart some advice too, because they've been through it. And yeah, it's really fun.
That is awesome. Ooh, what is your favorite series you have written? Is that like asking a favorite child? Like, right. Who's your favorite child?
I know, I only have a one and only child, so that's been an easy answer. Gosh, I know, it sounds cheesy, but I do love them all equally. They're so different to me, and they all, like, all four of the protagonists out of the series that I've written have such different, like, growth arcs and paths that I've sent them on. And I guess I feel like with Meg and Britta, those feel unfinished. So I do kind of have like an attachment to that. I have an attachment to Meg, probably because that was the series that kind of started me down this road. But then, like, Jules and Sloane, I love equally. And anytime I sit down to write a new book, I'm like, oh, I'm back with my fake friends here in my office. Here we go. Yeah.
That's how we feel when we're reading them too. We're like, oh, yay.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I didn't imagine that for sure. And when writers would say that, I thought they were just making it up. But I can tell you on the other side, no, it's true. I'm getting ready to work on book 17 of the Bake Shop Mysteries this week. And I'm already, like, I have notes around, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Okay, Lance is going to be back. What's he doing? And yeah, I know.
I love Lance.
I know, I do too. But then I have too much attachment where I'm like, these are not real people. Like, they're in your head. Yeah.
There was a shirt that my husband was going to order me one time that said something like, leave me alone. My fake character just died, or something like that. A fake, like,
Yeah.
basically implying like you are emotionally attached to fake characters, because
Totally.
sometimes I'll be like that. My husband will be like, what's wrong with you? I'll be like, they killed off, like,
I just need a minute.
I mean, we get that way in TV shows, so why not books?
Totally.
I mean, when there's that many books in a series and you've grown to know, you do get emotionally attached.
Yeah.
Ellie, do you see yourself writing any books set outside of the Pacific Northwest, or do you tend to just write what you know?
Ooh, Jillian, that's such a good question. I don't imagine myself, unless I end up somewhere that is not the Pacific Northwest. I just think for me as a writer, and maybe this is different for other people, but I just think I have to write from the lens that I know and see. And that's not only just physical space, but that's also, like, you're at some level getting my worldview on the page. I really think we are at a time and a space, especially with the cozy, not just sci-fi, but where the cozy's kind of been one of the last genres to catch up and reflect the world around us. And I'm excited to see that that's slowly changing. I'm talking in terms of traditional and, like, big publishing, right? So I think we need more diverse casts in the cozy. We need more diverse writers in the cozy. And so I want to make space for those stories to come through too. I can only tell you what it's like to live in, like, this lens. So I do have writer friends who are much better about, like, no, I'm going to create, well, even like a UFO. Like, I don't know that that's me as a writer. I have to be able to experience something in order to then make it fake. I don't know. Like, that's, but yeah, I guess that's a very long answer, but probably not, unless I end up living, I don't know where, somewhere, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I would be the same way. Like, I could only write what I know, but it might be fun to write outside of a location that I know, because then you get, like, you have to, like, research it. So,
True.
obviously
That's
I
true.
need to go to Morocco to be able to write about Morocco. See,
that is true. In fact, I have this, Jules at one point was talking about going to Spain, and I was like, oh, would I write her in Spain? But I don't think so, because, like, the whole vibe of the coziness is Ashland. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but I love that other writers do it. I just don't know if it's me.
Yeah. Kelly said, I saw that.
Uh-oh.
I know. I'm like, whoa.
Did the cat come by? I heard her cry.
And said Leavenworth. I will be.
Yeah, Kaylin, come see. It's the last Saturday in April, whatever that is, like the 30th. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Come on. Oh, we got a cat visit. Hi.
Oh, hello. Some of the people in our book group are doing a buddy read of The Cure for What Ails You in May. Yes.
Awesome, Melnack. Thank you for that. I can't wait. to hear what your buddies think. Will you be
Awesome.
drinking a pint with it is the question.
Should.
Yeah.
I heard the new Oktoberfest was kind of a bust. They also changed around the Christmas lighting.
Oh, they did the Christmas lighting. That got changed too, Taylor? I didn't know that. What's happening? What's happening in Leavenworth?
Laughing. Tiffany was going to join in the buddy room, but she jumped the gun. Okay. I read it early.
Oh, you're getting called out on your own.
I read it early. It came up and it was available at my library. And sometimes things just happen.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm guilty. Hi, listening in the car. Totally forgotten. Hello, Storm.
Hey, Storm.
Good to see you.
2 hands on the wheel.
Yeah. When books in a series go out of print, is there any rhyme or reason why? For example, book 2 and 5 will go out of print, but the other 7 books in the series don't. That's actually a really interesting question. Why and how does that work?
So it all has to do with print runs. So how many copies the publishing house prints initially. So let's say, you're under contract for 3 books in a series and the first book does pretty well. And maybe they start with a print run of 5,000 and then it sells pretty well and they add some on. And so maybe then for book 2, they decide, oh, we're going to bump that print run up because book 1 did well. And then sometimes, and then book 2 doesn't sell as well for whatever reason. That can happen. Then the flip side can happen where it's like they have gotten an order from a bookstore for more for book 1 and a series takes longer to kick off. It's really frustrating from the writer's perspective. I was just doing a live with another author friend and she's in a position where her 3rd book is now she's learning going to be her last. And she was already partway through writing her 4th book. And she's like, it's that part's not fun.
Yeah. I was able to buy all 5 of the Pacific Northwest series just as the first one I noticed was going out of print. I can't remember which one. I think it was book 2, Slade on the Slopes.
Slade on the Slopes. That's right. Good job. You scored him. Get him while you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could do a research vacation.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to do it.
I mean, it's in the name of writing. So
it is in the name of writing. It's true. I might have to.
That would be amazing. I don't like beer.
That's okay. We don't have to drink beer. I say all the time, I don't think you have to like beer to enjoy this series. It's more about the craft and the process and the Bavarian village. And yeah, it's okay.
April.
Yes, April,
Oh my gosh. She's like my favorite character. And then I heard you say one time that she's based upon a real person.
She really is.
I mean, I would. I think you should interview her.
Can you imagine if all the pictures behind me were just me? Like what? Yeah. Okay. I think that tells you everything you need to know about this person.
Oh my gosh, it's hysterical. I do love dressing up in costumes. So I do
too. Oh, totally.
I can get behind her
for sure.
Wanting people to dress up and then dressing up.
Same.
But in general, just to think that she's actually a real person, it's just hysterical to me.
I know.
Wow.
The dressing up reminds me, I was telling you before we went live about how I chaperoned the spring formal, the masquerade. The masquerade was the theme. So clever.
That's funny.
But I was like a kid at a candy store. I wish I didn't. Of course, I did not take pictures because that's super weird. Hi, I'm the mom. I'm just going to take pictures of all of you. But I mean, these kids went all out. It is Ashland. And so dressing up it's a thing here because there are very eclectic artistic types in town. But we're talking like the full old death mask, the doctor mask. And then elaborate. Oh, it was so fun. The costumes. I could write a whole book about that. Maybe Jules needs to cater prom at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be, yeah. Ooh, interesting. They used to do a big day event for Christmas, and now they spread it out throughout the month and made it more of a market event.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Taylor, I hadn't heard that it was changing. I knew Oktoberfest, right? But I hadn't heard that Christmas was changing too. I wonder if they're still doing like Winter Light Fests and the Ice Fest and everything. Well, they'll live on in fiction. That's the beautiful thing. They're going to keep happening for Sloan. So.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Excellent. Which is all we really need. You totally don't have to like beer to love the Sloan Krause series. I still love the series, and I love learning about beer. Yeah, the process is so interesting when Garrett kind of is doing his little scientific, I don't know, brewing. It's always it's a really interesting process too.
Yeah, I think so too.
To hear about and learn about. Yeah, I totally agree. Who would die at prom? A teen, a parent chaperone, a teacher? Ooh. A principal.
I'm gonna have to think on this one. Definitely not a teen. That feels a little too dark for the cozy. But I feel like a parent chaperone, maybe, like a big hoverer. The teachers were as dressed up as the kids last night, which I loved even more. Glittery faces, and they had a teacher dance going on. It was so much joy. I think because this is the first thing that has happened since 2019, probably dance wise.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a principal, teacher.
Yeah, that's good.
Totally something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that, but.
The gym teacher.
Yeah, totally. The janitor killed during the prom. Oh, Cajun. That feels like a Veronica Mars episode almost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That could happen. I like it.
A death at a prom would be full of drama. Yes.
One of my marching orders when I got there last night was just like constant rotation into the bathroom because there's going to be someone crying every time I went into the bathroom. Yeah, there were some tears. Like, okay, it's okay. It's just one night. I promise. You got the rest of your life. So many more things to come.
And some things never change, right? Like
I know
how different some things are. Like kids at 17 now versus when we were 17, but some things never change, and that is one of them. There's probably always going to be a crying child in the bathroom.
Always, at every dance. Yeah, it's unavoidable. But that's good from a red herring perspective, because we could maybe assume that, we might be plotting out the next story right now. Let me get my notebook.
I mean, seriously. We did a really what was it? This Time It's Murder. Yeah. I was so impressed at all and a little scared at all of the suggestions. I was like, oh.
I know.
You're like, where should it take place? And people are just popping off. I'm like, you thought about this way too much.
I know. You didn't have to put any thought into it, right?
My family visits wine country often, Finger Lakes, New York. Ooh. And there are a ton of craft breweries in the area too. We always fit some in. I like going, even though I don't drink beer. Great to visit.
Ooh, I'll have to add that to my travel list. I've never heard of Finger Lakes, New York. So
I have not either. Interesting name too.
Yeah.
Interesting. It would be a great short story because it's
Oh yeah, that's a good event. Maybe that could be a bake shop novella. Yeah.
Oh, you've gone real dark.
Yeah, totally. Not cozy, but great.
You've gone real dark there. And we all know that I can't do. Yeah, I'm the biggest scaredy cat, so I can't go near that.
Same.
I mean,
that man, he writes some good stuff though.
I do not know. I can scare myself with my own shadow, and sometimes I do. So I stay away from, I say like I would love to like that stuff, but I also like sleep. So I just feel like the two don't mix for me.
Right.
So I would say dead, but yeah.
Which one is it? Sleep or
never sleep? And I'm always going to choose sleep, so I just have to stay away from the other.
He's just like,
no, that is not. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. What was I going to say? So That would be a good, or like class reunion for
Mm,
somebody, and have a big ball
yeah.
or something, and then somebody,
Uh-huh.
so that Jules has a reason to be at like an event like that or something.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You have released a lot of books. Do you still get excited when a new one comes out?
Ridiculously so. Like, I kid you not, I did not sleep for 3 days before Last Coast Literary came out. I really feel like if I get to the point where I'm like, I have a book coming out, that it's time to stop, right? Yeah, I absolutely, I do like pinch myself that I get to do this and that even one person wants to read it. So, yes, yes, and yes. I don't know, like in my head, like, if you could see me the day of release, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's here. Yeah, yeah.
So is there excitement and fear, like, oh my gosh, even, so not talking about Left Coast Literary, because that's like totally new. Like that would be maybe a realistic fear, as opposed to like, you're on book 17 of the Donut Shop. That people love the series. Do you still get the, oh my God, what if nobody reads it?
Totally. Or what if they hate it? Or, is it getting stale? Like, have I kept it fresh? Yeah, it's always like it's a mix. It's a lot of excitement and energy because I've poured so much of myself into a book, and then it's like I'm sending it out to the world, so that feels super exciting. And then also like, okay, like everybody could hate it. I don't think I'll ever be someone for whom that negative anxiety loop goes away. I've just learned to acknowledge it. And there is also something to be said of like, once a book is out there, it's not for me anymore. It's for readers, right? So you do have to release it at some level, but it feels a little bit like getting ready to send my kiddo off to college in the fall, where you're like, oh, okay, like go do your thing. And yeah.
Do you get like, I mean, without like, do you get like weird emails from people when they don't like something, or when they think you did something that, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why did you get the, like, why did Jules do this?
Yeah. I would say if I get emails like that, usually readers are more kind. What's a gut punch is like if like a personal reviewer reads it and then doesn't like it and tags me and like shares that with me, like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't need to know that, like it's fine. I don't have any issue with, because it's the same thing, like books are for readers, right? But that always feels a little bit like, oh, okay. But yeah, for the most part, I would say when I get email early on in the series, I won't give away any spoilers because I know a few people have said that they're just starting, but I did get more feedback about Jules' love interest and choices, and people had ideas on that. I get a lot of Sterling fan mail. A lot of readers would like to know if Sterling is real. He's not. That's fun. I get a lot of requests for recipes, which is also fun. Yeah, but for the most part, people are usually pretty kind. But yeah, every once in a while I'll get someone who like tags me on all of the social with just this review that's like, your book brought me no joy. Like, oh, okay. Appreciate that.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for reading it, but next, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think it's that thing, if you're going to put yourself out in the world creatively, like you have to like be open to that. I was giving a talk on Zoom a couple months ago to a group of like new writers, and they were saying like, well, like I would want to respond and like send all of like my fans, like, no. Like that's just part of being in the world right now. So
yeah, and I agree, but I do think that there's a difference between me just writing a review and saying, hey, I didn't enjoy this book, and then sending it to the author and saying you suck. Right. I mean, there's a big difference between those two things.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I the argument of like what you're saying, where the author's like, I want to send my fans and I want to do this. And I'm like, it's almost narcissistic to think that you're not going to be judged just the same way as, because I'll see authors say, well, but I put my heart and soul in that book. I'm like, well, the actor thinks that they put their heart and soul in it. And that chef over there thinks they put their heart and soul in it. And you could go on and on, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Everybody's, and it's just the same as, but I do think that there's a difference between saying a critique and being respectful about not liking something and just being a butt, and then on top of being a butt, attaching it to the author. At that point, you are antagonist, right?
Totally.
I mean, like,
yeah.
That
and
is
I don't respond to any of those like that.
Yeah.
Because why? Like, yes.
Right.
And I mean,
that's kind of what they're hoping for, right?
Right. Totally. Yeah. And I would say, in the course of 10 years, maybe that's happened a handful of times. It doesn't happen that often, but it has happened a couple of times where I'm like, well, that's fine, but please, like, don't send me that. Like, it's okay. Right. Like, and I do, like, I think I do fully understand that at every level, especially now where I'm at in my career, but even early on, because I am a reader and like I was saying, like, I will often have a book that I just cannot get into. And it's not a reflection of the book at all. It's just where I'm at. And then I might come back to that book a couple years later and go, oh my God, this is like, why did I not love it back in the day? Yeah. So reading is subjective for sure. But yeah, there's a PSA. Like, you feel free to share that, but don't tag the author or send it to the author. That's not cool.
It's a series of lakes in the middle of New York State. The longer ones stretch from near the top to the bottom of the state, loaded with wineries, waterfalls, parks, etc. Beautiful. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, let's go.
That sounds really great.
I got to stretch myself.
It sounds like it could be the scene of a great entire series. There's a lot of ways to kill people in different spots.
Totally. Waterfalls. Yeah.
I know, right? I have issues with Carrie since I saw it when I was 7.
Oh, I don't know if I would have survived.
I have, like I said, I think I've seen like 5 scary movies in my entire life, and they were not voluntary. Let's just say that. Maybe at a slumber party, something like that. But the only reason I know anything about Carrie is because Adam Sandler did a song. He used to have those parodies. Adam Sandler used to put like CDs of music, like The Lunch Lady is a song about a lunch lady. Totally. He has a song, and I don't know what it is. Again, it's a parody. And he like says in this really creepy voice, like where he's trying to portray a woman, they're all going to laugh at you. And he just repeats it over and over. And my older brother would listen to that. And he told me it's from, it's a play on Carrie, the movie. Knew nothing about it, but it still traumatized me just hearing Adam Sandler say that weird voice. Ugh.
That's too much.
Creepy.
No, thank you.
Yes. I know Tech Guy reads reviews. Do you?
I will always read the trade reviews because those get sent to me either by my publicist or now with Sweet Lemon Press. So that'd be like, the Library Journal, San Francisco Book Review, all of those come in directly. As a general rule, I don't ever read reviews. It's been different though with Lost Coast because now being on the publishing side of things, I was seeing a lot of them. So that was like, oh, that's right. But for my other stuff, almost never, unless somebody sends me one. Sometimes readers will, and I appreciate that. Like if somebody tags me in a review where they enjoyed it, that's always nice, but I don't actively seek them out just because, again, I don't think it's great for anyone's psyche one way or the other necessarily. And I really think they're not so much for the writer, they're for readers.
Yeah. 7, I still get nervous when it's foggy because of that short story of his. And I was in my 20s when I read that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a particular routine to celebrate when a new book comes out other than your YouTube launch live? That's an interesting question to add on to that question. So like, how like you'll hear sports athletes be like, I wear the same pair of socks, or when you write, you have like these not routines, but what would they be called? Not traditions, kind of like traditions or superstitions where you have
right. Yeah. No, not really. And in terms of how do I celebrate? Usually it's like, I get up and I go for a walk, and I might get a coffee out instead of making one that day. Sometimes I'll like go out for a fun celebratory dinner. This time we actually then got to have the in-person launch the next day, so that felt
Yeah, that was
very
cool.
like woo. Sometimes I'll go to the bookstore to see it on the shelf, just because then it's like, oh, that's right, it's really real. It's not just like in my office. Because a lot of time, well, all the time, I have copies of the book long before it's actually out in bookstores. So that's always fun to like go see it out in the wild on release day. Yeah, but not anything else. I gotta up my game.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what that would be. A balloon drop in my office. I'm kidding.
I have heard authors talk about how it takes them a while to write a book, but then readers will finish it in a day. Do you wish we took longer to read them? Ha ha. That's funny.
No, I love that. I'm the same way. I think it's a sign of that hopefully you're enjoying it. You know, you're
Yeah.
consuming it, you're into the story. I absolutely love that 100%. And if I'm reading a book that I can't put down, then I'm like, that's a great sign. So no, go for it. Plus, then you have time to read more books too.
True. But I'll get like that where, I'm anticipating a release and I'll read it like as soon as it comes out. And then I'll be like I'm like, when's your next one? They're like, I haven't even had the launch party.
No, right. No, it's true. Sorry. But I think particularly in this genre, they are consumed. I mean, they're cozy, they're light, they're quick. It's not necessarily like such a meaty book, so it makes sense to me. Because I will get a lot of email like that. In fact, yesterday I got someone who was like, okay, I finished Lost Ghost. Like, when's the next bake shop? That's already done. So I'm like, all right, I got 2 more for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, which says, that's great. I mean, I think that's people want your books. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably, it's just hard to keep up. Like, I mean, how do you write that fast? We can't, right? But
right.
I had a childhood friend with older brother. She was used to horror movies. I was more used to, Muppet Babies are up my alley.
Babies.
I loved the Muppet Babies.
Same.
Same. I was a big I get so defensive when I see someone leave a mean review and it's not even my book. It is interesting what I think is funny is if I don't like book 1, I don't tend to, but people will leave a 1-star review for book 1 and then you see them leave they continue to read. I'm like, why are you continuing to read it?
No. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, like, you didn't like it initially. What would make you think you're going to like books 2, 3, and 4? I don't know.
That is always funny to me too. Like, I forgot about this one, but early on this woman emailed me and she's like, I needed to let you know, I did not enjoy Death on Tap, the first in the beer series. She's like, I don't drink beer. I hate everything about beer. I'm like, why did you pick up a book that's like Death on Tap with a cake? And like, okay, like totally fine. But yeah, maybe just pass that one by.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, what makes you think if you hate something that you're going to like a book about that topic? Like, you're kind of setting yourself up for, I don't. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I know. What are you going to do?
I've read the 2 Rose City books and books 1 through 4 of Slim Krause. I still have to read Bake Shop in Pacific Northwest, but I have all the released books in both series. They're sitting on my TBR. That's awesome,
a huge TBR. And I'm sure you have other stuff too. So go slowly.
Yeah. Watkins Glen is well-known raceway. It's in the Finger Lakes. Oh, okay. I still have never heard of that either, but that's awesome. J.C. Eaton's Wine Trail Cozy series is set. Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
I haven't read that, but I love her Sophie Kimball.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a writing team.
I think so too.
Writing team. Even if I don't like a book, I don't dissuade anyone. I totally agree. A book I don't like, someone else might love. Totally agree.
Absolutely. Same.
And I think that what you were saying earlier with books are subjective, and some days, depending on my mood, I might love something and the next day, you know what I mean? And I don't try to persuade other people. And even if I think a book is not for me because I feel like something in it struck me wrong or whatever, I just kind of move on and, leave it for the next person to love. Like, I don't
Right.
know, I think it's totally agree. The exception being if a book has something in it that I know someone would really not like or be bothered by. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's a really good point. Hi, Karen. So late coming
Hi,
in, but happy
Karen.
to see you, Ellie. Yeah, Karen's always at your Tuesday lives too.
I
She's
know.
awesome.
Karen's in Houston. Yeah, I just had that happen. I was reading a rom-com actually, and I got partway through it, and it was literally like the whole thing was billed as a rom-com, and it took a dark, dark turn halfway through. That really, like, it did make me think about, like, oh, in terms of marketing, do you need, I don't know how I feel about like disclaimers on books, but there was a whole suicide thing that I thought, like, I was going to recommend it to a friend who had just had some issues with another friend. So yeah, that's always tricky.
Yeah, it's a touchy, it's hard. It's hard. I can see it both ways. Like, I do think that for those kind of reasons, like, it would be nice to know, like, hey, going into this, there's some, but then if it's something that's, a build up to you don't want to give away a plot,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's hard.
I do too. Yeah. But I can understand, like, if there was something in a book where you were like, oh, this might be a tender spot for somebody I know, that's different.
Yes. And I try to, I try not to, there's series that I just, for whatever reason, something struck me in it and I don't care for the series, but I still, if a book is coming out or somebody's talking about it, I just try to, I mean, as a matter of fact, when I first started my book channel, and I'm never going to say this, so that, but I had an author stand me up for an interview like this. And that's fine. Maybe something come up, but they never even emailed me like, hey, sorry about that. And I never will. I'm never going to reveal. But to this day, like, every time I see something come out or when I see that, I get that little, but I'm just like,
yeah,
it's just not, that's just not who I am to be like, this person did this. And
totally. No,
never read.
I'm never going to say, even if I don't enjoy a book, I'm never going to put a negative review out there, but yeah, it's all good.
The book I started today, I cannot put down and cannot stop laughing at. I'm already on page 100, but I also read books I'm not liking as much quickly because I'm eager to move on from it.
Yeah, right.
I usually give series a 3-star book trial. After the third one, if I still don't like it, I'm done. I think that's fair. And I think that's really fair in cozies because I always tell people to, and I think a lot of us say this, but like, the number one is a lot of character building and world building and or town building, you know what I mean? And like, so I feel like it's a setup. Like, if you don't like the first one, at least give the second one a chance. And then if you're still not into it, then like, I feel like you've given it a fair shot. But I think it's hard with book one. And why do you need to tell me you didn't like it and that you didn't like Bear? Haha, so random. I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, Cornflower. Do you have a favorite title of the books you've written? Also, do you have a favorite book you've written?
Oh, okay. One of my favorite titles that I've ever written is Another One Bites the Crust, from the Bake Shop Mystery Series, only because, like, anytime I say it, I have to sing it and do the little John Travolta move. My favorite book that I've written right now is Lost Ghost Literary, just because it's kind of like whatever book is out is usually the one that I'm like is nearest and dearest to my heart, but that might change in a month or two. It's always like I'm so in the moment with the book, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, Anita, very much so. Very subjective. And sometimes it's what we got going on in our own lives. There's just so much to it,
Yeah.
B. McEwen, part of JC Eaton's wine series is on my TBR too. Yes, it's an enormous TBR, hundreds and hundreds of physical books.
Yeah.
I have a big TBR, but thank goodness it's all ebook because I think that my Goodreads says I want to read. I think I narrowed it down to 4,000 books.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and so I'm like,
You know.
Sometimes star ratings stress me out. I will give something 5 stars and then I will say a bunch of 3 stars and I'm like, wait, was I not supposed to like it?
Oh no.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that's funny, Taylor, because I'm kind of the same way, but usually it's the other way. Like if there's a book that I see everybody loving, and it's not that I hated it or anything like that, but I didn't love it. I'm like, what did I miss? Should I go back and read it? Like, did I miss something that, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a joke or something. I'm like, did I not get it? Like,
what's wrong with me? No.
Yeah. So I totally really, but the other way, that's funny. Melmac, it's actually on mine too. That's awesome. Hi, Shannon. She said, I have the hardest time reviewing books with a number or hashtag. That's why I love watching and making videos to go into the conversation.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then you're more sharing like your perspective on the read.
Yes. Which I started with a blog and I realized right away, like I'm more of a talker than a writer. So I'm going to have to do something different. Yeah, totally. Yes, Tiffany, I think about the book forever and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Yeah. Like, and I do the same thing with TV shows and music and just anything. I'm like, what did I not get? But I just, I think it's all subjective, like we've said. So real quick, can you run down what is coming up and the dates of what is coming up before we all sign off? I'm so excited because Sloan Krause in May.
Yes. Okay. So we've got the Sloan novella in May. That comes out May 3rd. That's ebook only because it's short. It's going to be like 100 pages. And then Donut Disturb, which is the next in the Bake Shop Mysteries, book 15. That comes out at the end of June.
Oh, sweet.
And then book 16 of the Bake Shop Mysteries, which I'm going to release the real cover and title for this week. That comes out at the end of December. And then hopefully in the mix, I'll have a date for the first in the Beckman Falls series. I'm hoping like early fallish. I'm working right now on cover art and all of the things that go into it. So I'm scared to like put a date. Like I keep thinking it's going to be September, but then what if it needs to be October? So sometime in there.
You should just say October. And then if it's early, you're going to be like, hey, look, I finished.
That's a good strategy. Yes. It's a bonus. It's sooner. Yeah. It's funny because the book has been done for a while, but it's all the other stuff that goes into it now. And
y'all still speaking to each other.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You might end up that in a book. No, it's great because we have very different and complementary skill sets. We work I work up here in my office. He's down in a corner in the basement. So we have our own space. That's for me. Like I can't have anyone around me when I'm writing. So yeah.
That's funny. I'm more of a writer than a talker. See, that works out perfect for your blog. Hey, Breezy. She said, I agree with Shannon and I'm bad about giving star ratings. I'd rather just say how it makes me feel. I agree.
Yeah, I love that.
I agree. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yay, love cover. I know. I'm excited to see it. Is there a live this coming Tuesday?
Yes. Yeah. We're going to do a live Tuesday, 5:30, same time. I need to do a post about it. I've been too in the mood of, spring fling dances and a book. Gotta get it going.
I know. Regulated to the basement.
It's how it happens.
Do you know what your topic is this Tuesday?
This Tuesday is just going to be like sort of a grab bag. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. I'm going to reveal the cover of Bake Shop 16 and the title. So live people will get it first, and then talk about all the stuff that's upcoming for spring because I'm traveling a little bit, which is weird. So it's all new.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
If you have not seen, she does a live, I don't want to say every Tuesday, but really every Tuesday. I mean, unless something's coming up, I assume that she's always there. And it's at I guess 5:30 your time, 8:30. I know it's 8:30 Eastern. I don't know about anybody else's time.
Yeah, I know. Poor Central.
But it's so much fun, and I've met so many people just kind of in there, and it's lovely. I love it.
I know, it's such a great group.
So she has it on her Facebook and her YouTube channel.
Yep. Come join in.
Drum roll. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I will add her link to her channel in this interview for Anita. So you'll be able to find her channel and subscribe. And then she also has you have a newsletter.
Right. Yeah.
And it's EllieAlexander.co.
Yes, well done.
Yeah. I say that because it took me a long time to figure out. I kept putting in, and I was like, this isn't Ellie Alexander.
Yeah, I know. What? I know.
But so you can get on her newsletter, and I'm so excited for all the stuff that you have coming up. I absolutely love all the series, and I'm so excited to see more Sloane Krause and hopefully see more of Pacific Northwest, which I'm actually not caught up in, but I really love the premise. It was so much fun because I can totally relate to it, like trying to get a job doing something I know nothing about and then being like totally like caught, So thanks again. And I look forward to May and the new books coming out, and we'll see everybody Tuesday.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
Yes. Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.